This video is not supposed to attack anybody that worked on Helluva Boss. Not Vivzie, not Brandon, nobody. This is mostly just a fun creative exercise for me, executing tropes and writing I would have liked to see in Season 2. And of course, I hold nothing but respect for the whole team delivering us such a high quality animation for free to watch on YouTube. Please go support Helluva Boss. That being said, hi, my name is Purple and oh boy, Season 2. Sure is a season. It, looks nice. Can't wait to see the Asmodeus episode. Okay, look. I've been feeling rather dissatisfied with the episodes lately. However, like many others, I didn't feel like I could voice my opinions and thoughts, since any sort of negative criticism towards this indie project seems to open the floodgates to a bunch of wild accusations on both sides. There's a reason I put that disclaimer at the start. And the interesting thing is, I understand both sides. After all, this project is completely free to watch, and definitely has some amazing scenes, a fun premise, and of course, gorgeous animation. But it also shouldn't be immune to criticism. I won't try to repeat what other creators have already said here. Instead, I have linked a bunch of videos in the description that make a pretty good job of dissecting why a lot of people, and even myself, have been feeling quite a bit dissatisfied with Season 2. If I would have to sum it up, it is a combination of retcons, bad execution of plot ideas, and a lot, and I mean a lot, of Twitter posts that supposedly contain lore. But I mean, come on man, you know damn well why that's the worst place for that. I shouldn't have to look at your social media to understand the damn story. It just sucks, cause well, a lot gets lost in translation if you do. That being said, after listening and getting inspired by those videos I listed below, and talking with a friend about my own frustrations with the show, I decided to brainstorm and come up with a bunch of ideas and rewrites for Season 2's episodes. I did want to adhere to some rules, however. After all, this isn't an entire rewrite. I adored Season 1. It had its flaws, don't get me wrong, but it set up a lot of good stuff. Not to mention Fizzarazi, my beloved. So, the first rule of this rewrite. Season 1 stays mostly unchanged. I say mostly because, as per this genius Tumblr post, episodes 6 and 7 will swap orders, making the episode Truth Seekers the finale of Season 1, instead of the sadly lost episode. The reasoning there being that Truth Seekers could directly answer the events to Aussies. The people from Aussies would still be fresh in Blitz's mind, thus occurring in the drug trip. There is a big dramatic fight, and of course, despite the tension, and Blitz clearly being still upset at Stolas, he saves them, and IMP anyways, showing that Stolas does care deeply. At the end, it's clearly not fully back to normal. There's still some tension. But some progress was made in their relationship, leaving it as a pretty good conclusion. Not to mention that cliffhanger of the human government now knowing about IMP is a pretty neat cliffhanger to slide into Season 2. Once again, huge thanks to that Anon for suggesting this. So, in the middle of me editing this video, episode 8 finally got released. So here we are. First things first, I think this episode was pretty fun. I enjoyed the songs. The references were neat, and hey, look at that, another demon prince to add to the collection. From what I've seen, there were some gripes about Beelzebub's design. Personally, I thought it was fine. I specifically liked this color palette of hers. I just thought the blues and pinks were a bit too distracting. But whatever, it all comes down to subjectivity. I like Bea as a character. She seems very nice and kind, especially for a demon royalty. Sometimes even too much for a demon royalty. Like at points it seems like she's more of a celebrity than, you know, the demon prince of gluttony herself. And of course I love that she name-dropped 2 other demon princes, Belphegor and Satan. Can't wait to see what they will be like, especially with what she implied about them. What I will also say is that the whole episode felt a bit weird to me. It felt as if everything was reworked halfway through the final edit. Like for example, a lot of Luna's dialogue comes off as just not fitting with the other dialogue. Like I get what the team was trying to do. Luna's out of her element, she's awkward and a bit antisocial, and doesn't know anyone at this party until Blitz shows up, etc, etc. But like, take this scene for example, where Bea kindly tells her that, hey, Blitz seems really not okay, and even implies that he's sort of suicidal. And Luna just sort of snaps at her. It just didn't feel right. I don't know. It could just be a me thing, but some dialogue and animation definitely seemed off, and it also seems like I'm not the only one who noticed. It was almost like Bee was supposed to be a completely different character, then they rewrote her completely to be far more kind, but then just kept Luna's dialogue for some reason. At the end of the day, the sad truth is, as much as I enjoyed episode 8, it felt sad, because then you recall what happens immediately after that in season 2. It genuinely feels like watching the early seasons of Game of Thrones. You enjoy the scenes and characters, sure, but then you remember where it ends up and you just sigh sadly and turn to watch something more satisfying instead. I think that's also why I feel it's so important that the rest of season 2, and by extension the season that may follow, excuse my language, pick up their ass and stop bullshitting their way through it, please, for the love of God, just write a coherent story. Anyways, Vivzi did say that this episode was supposed to be more of a spectacle than anything else, and yeah, that's what it is. It could work in putting episode 2 from season 2 a bit more into context, but still, that's your finale to your season 1. Yeah, I will stand with my previous suggestion / the Anon's idea. For our rewrite, the episode order would be Aussies, Queen Bee, Truth Seekers, for the same reasons I said before. Episode 6 just feels more like a finale. And sure, those scenes of Luna and Blitz at the end were nice and fun and adorable, but like, finale worthy? Last dialogue of the season? Not really. In conclusion, I loved the episode, I'm happy about Bee, both her songs were really good, some scenes felt a bit off, and at the end it didn't feel like a true finale. Okay, those were my thoughts on episode 8. Back to the rewriting of season 2. Back to our original rule set though. My second rule I put up for myself was I had to keep at least some of what the original episode was trying to do. I am nothing if not faithful to my source material, so, for example, the Striker episode will still contain Striker, Stolas will still get hurt, and Moxie and Millie will be more involved than Blitz. Episode 1 will still contain backstory elements for Stolas, Episode 3 will have the fans' beloved Shark Boy Chaz back in it, etc. Stuff like that. This is mostly to show things can be done right if given enough room and also set limitations. Finally, rule number 3. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Simple as that. There have been some retcons, let's call it, that the writers tried rectifying on Twitter. Personally speaking, I dislike that. I dislike that a lot. So I will use what season 1 gave us and build off on it. Small details like Sallie Mae's rivalry with Millie didn't go unnoticed by the fans after all, so it only seems fair to build off on those things too. Phew! Now that was one hell of an intro. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Episode 1. Okay, so in this episode we were supposed to get a fun Stolas backstory to show the audience how he went from that spoiled rich kid to the sad and horny owl he is today. In this episode, I think what fans criticized the most was the childhood romance between the two main leads, Blitz and Stolas, and the... well, I personally wouldn't call it character assassination, more like lost potential with Stella. I mean, don't get me wrong, she can still be an abuser, but the show really doesn't seem to understand how its characters influence each other. Enough criticism though. How would I rewrite it? Well, let's see. The episode opens showing the very beginning of Stolas' marriage. Maybe we see a young Stolas nervously readjusting his outfit, while his father Payman rambles in the background about just how perfect he picked his wife from all the other noblewomen. The scene cuts, and we see Stolas and Stella meeting each other for the first time, at the altar. Stella is clearly nervous, and so is Stolas, but both smile at each other and say their I do's. Next we see them in their wedding bed. This is for mature audiences after all, and they are both clearly awkward and unsure of what to do or how to make it work. After all, Stolas is a gay man, and whether Stella is a woman loving women or just a very sheltered girl that never got told how sex works aside from perform your marital duties, they're both awkward and don't really know how to go about this. But they make it work, because they both don't want any trouble with the Ars Goetia. Maybe Stolas even makes jokes about how they each prefer different wines, making her laugh. And then it transitions, from her laughing to her becoming more and more toxic as time passes. Maybe she starts drinking in secret out of Via's and the public's eye. Maybe we see her starting to suspect Stolas cheating long before Blitz even entered the picture. Maybe we even get a scene of Stolas flirting with an imp working for him. This would fit Stolas' previous characterization from the pilot and Lululand, and it would show how he can be toxic too, what with the power imbalance and all. And then it transitions again, to Stella angrily throwing things at a wall in a rage at the public affair with an imp. Hey, we can even have this scene from the actual episode, why not? Just follow it up with her throwing an absolute fit about it in private too. Stolas doesn't even have to be there, just show how angry and hurt she is. Finally, we get to the scene on the balcony. Her, as the evil and angry and hurt person she is now, asking Stolas, so now what? Now what do you want? This is where Stolas cracks and just starts screaming at her to just get out of his house and his life. She leaves, and we cut to that final shot of him looking up at the sky, wondering where he went wrong in his life. Boom! It establishes both were never perfect, but one got to play and experiment with his sexualities and flings, while the other became numb through alcohol. And it shows that Stolas is in the wrong for cheating on his wife. Loveless marriage or not, he could have gotten a divorce far sooner if it really is as easy as episode 2 and 4 make it out to be. Basically, it would make this whole ordeal far more grey and make Stolas and Stella far more nuanced characters. And on the meta level, it would also help to comment on how arranged marriages can work, how cheating husbands in history were given far more lenience, and how 1600 aristocratic marriages actually worked. Not to mention the LGBT representation of two clearly non-straight people being forced into a marriage by society. There you go. Season 2, episode 1 rewritten. Both Stolas and Stella are given nuance and stay in character. We get some backstory to their marriage, showing where it all went wrong. We just see that no, Stolas isn't perfect. He shouldn't have cheated on her. And they're both not in a good place. And it leaves the viewer wanting both characters to grow and overcome their hardships, which means we'd be rooting far more for these characters. And hey, at the end of the day, that's what these episodes are supposed to do, right? So yeah, that was my rewriting for Season 2, Episode 1. I'd be really interested in rewriting the other episodes too, but I wanted to dip my toes in it first and see how this video is received before continuing this project. Huge thanks once again to my friend BNY on Instagram. Their ragdoll comic tackles Mammon, Ozzy's, and Fizz's origin story, and they helped come up with the ideas for the rewrite, so go and follow them on there if you haven't already. Feel free to subscribe to this channel and my own Insta and Tumblr for some more updates and art. I should be able to update you there when and if I will be rewriting the rest of Season 2. And once again, this is my personal rewrite. It uses tropes and ideas that I personally like and thought would fit those characters. If you, the viewer, disagree, that is completely valid, and of course, at the end of the day, these are still Vivzi's characters. She holds all rights to do with their stories as she pleases. These were just some of my takes on what I would have done. I would also love to see other people's ideas for this, so whether in the comments or in a Tumblr post, add me in your own personal rewrites and ideas. I'll try featuring some of the best ideas in the next video, if there is interest in a follow-up, of course. So until next time, stay tuned and bye-bye!